So I'm going to officially introduce our session for this particular time period, and it is Melding Academic Knowledge and Life Reflection into the Career Space, Spelman's Career Pathways Initiative. We have Dr. Tinaz Pavri from Spelman College. Thank you so much for being here. I had the pleasure of working with Tinaz, and she is fantastic. So I can't wait to hear how things have transpired with CPI.
Thank you. Thank you so much, D'Angela. Okay, so I am going to start sharing my screen. Okay, so just a little bit about kind of the Career Pathways Initiative. And I know D'Angela knows a little bit about it because I think you were there kind of at the inception of it. And now we are at the end of the project. And so it came about as a result of a grant that Spelman got, a grant that we applied for. And when I say we, even the application process was very much a faculty-led, faculty-driven, but also infused by important staff members across the college, you know, kind of sitting down together, brainstorming the ideas that if we were to receive a substantial 5-year grant to change the way that we think about the career space and the way that we can help students in the career space in thinking about their lives after Spelman, et cetera, then what would we want? Like, what's most important for us? And so the way we wrote the grant, we agreed that what the things that were missing at the moment at Spelman, and I think that that's reflected of so many other institutions of higher education, was that the career space happened in a silo and then the academic space happened in a silo. And so we thought this grant is a great opportunity to bring those two spaces together. We had heard so many stories from the career office kind of saying, you know, we advertise all of these things. We've got so many opportunities for students, but we just don't see students. And then on the other side, you had faculty who maybe wanted to help, but weren't quite sure what their role was in the career space, right? And there was yet other faculty who believed that those two things don't need to happen at all. Like, faculty should stay teaching and they don't need to be looking in the direction of what the students, and particularly if it happened to be quote unquote job related. And so we were very clear that this wasn't about getting a job. This was about students thinking about their post-Spelman life, their career, what made them happy, what would make them thrive, and what would build their life, right? And so the grant really funded a number of initiatives that focused on faculty retraining and just being the spearhead and the leaders for new knowledge streams that they would infuse into the classroom. The kinds of streams that we, through data and research, knew that the outside world was really hungry for, right? Things like data science, things like design thinking, et cetera, right? So if you look at it, yes, so we aligned all of our ideas with what UNCF, the grant makers, were thinking about. And there are 3 kind of areas: curricular enhancement, which is by far the most important, and I think we found the most success in, and in which the faculty were very, very key. Then the integrated co-curricular engagement and the guided pathways, and each of those I will speak about a little bit more. So, sorry, this caption is distracting me. Okay, so let me start with the curricular enhancement, because that really was by far the biggest piece. So what we decided was to break down how we were going to bring our faculty in and how we were going to share this grant. We focused on the first year experience, FYEs. If you start at the top here, on the left, And so we focused in FY, the first year experience does a bunch of things for our first year students, but what we wanted to do was to infuse kind of, how are they thinking about their resumes? Do they even have one that's been written? Do they have a vision statement? And so we developed expertise within the faculty to infuse those kinds of things within the entire first year experience class. We had some GIS, geographical information systems. This was kind of an experimental, so it remained kind of a pilot. It worked well, and some faculty created modules. We funded new courses to come out in the major, courses that faculty would propose and that they would create, and they infused some career thinking into that particular course. So we had quite a slew, at least 10 or so new courses that we funded that didn't exist before, that melded. It could be within theater, or it could be within economics, or it could be within the sciences. But faculty proposed them, and then we were able to fund them. Also, we funded an endeavor with a company called GreenFig. If you go to the bottom of that green section, the Art and Science of Digital Marketing was a course that we created with them, a project-based course. And there was a faculty member who partnered with GreenFig, and GreenFig brought in a lot of leaders from the corporate world who actually worked on projects with our students. And those projects actually were infused into the companies that those CEOs or corporate leaders represented. So it was a very exciting kind of endeavor. And we're actually going to continue that now through our new QEP plan at Spelman, Quality Enhancement Plan, which all colleges have to do. So our new one focuses on career. So a lot of our work at CPI is going to be carried forward through our new QEP, because our grant is going to end at the end of this year. And we're going to do some tie-ups next year. Also, data science was an important part of our grant. We wanted to infuse data science skills, especially into the humanities and especially into the social sciences. So it resulted in the creation of modules by different faculty and also in new courses. And then and one interesting thing about the data science piece is that I think 3 years into our grant, and we're the first ones who really introduced this idea of data science in humanities and social sciences. It had just started being talked about maybe in the computer science space. And 3 years into our grant, the whole Atlanta University Center, which is a consortium of colleges, Spelman, Morehouse, Clark Atlanta, got a very large grant to infuse data science across the entire consortium. So that piece of our project is in really good hands. They've got a lot of money that they're infusing out to the community in order to create courses and to sustain data science. So a lot of our work, like I'm really happy, is going to be sustained through different things. And then one other thing that a couple of things that I'll focus on, the Design Your Life piece, which was to infuse kind of a design thinking way of looking at making students kind of break the idea of how they used to think about careers and remake it and redesign it in the way that they that they really wanted for their life, right? And so we had some trainers who came in and trained a number of faculty, and I have some figures about how many faculty we had in these workshops, etc. And then the faculty created modules about design thinking, about career into their classes, and then also created standalone courses. So that was actually a very successful piece of our project. And if we, I was thinking earlier when I was thinking about this lecture that maybe if we had enough people, then we would kind of take a break and I would go through some of the exercises in the Design Your Life course, which is really, really fun for students because it's all very hands-on. And so the trainer or the professor who leads the course just does a series of different exercises with students. And as a result of that, the students come to an understanding themselves of what they really want in life and what do they really want to do. So they may come in thinking, I don't really know what I want to do at all, or I want to do X, but at the end of the course, they're rethinking it, because the instructor will go through exercises like just simple ones, but ones that force the students to sit together and either think themselves or in groups. Things like, if you didn't have any limits, right, on your finances or anything like that, no limits at all in your imagination, what would you really want to do in life, right? And so the students spend some time brainstorming that, workshopping those kinds of exercises. And a lot of our evaluations show that those courses were very, very, very beneficial for students. So that was a really, I think, important piece of our grant. And then I just want to focus on one other piece, which is on the yellow section. And if you look in that first line, faculty career counselors in the major, and this is also a piece that's going to be sustained, even though our grant is ending. What we decided was, what I said initially at the beginning of the talk, right? The biggest missing link was, how do you put the faculty together with the career space? Because they have just not been together. And so we came up with this idea of faculty career counselors. So there's a faculty member in each major now who assumes the duties of linking our students with whatever the career office is offering, and just a host of other opportunities. And so there's always somebody who is quote unquote in charge. Like before that, faculty were busy doing what they're doing. Some of them were, of course, advising students on career, but now there's an intentional member of the faculty for each major. And I think that's been really, really great. And that's going to be, Spelman is picking that piece up because it requires, all of these things require stipends for faculty, because faculty are already so busy and they don't want to just add more things. But when you make it something that faculty would, that says this is so valuable and we want to reward you for your time, then it becomes more feasible. And so I think that Spelman is definitely interested in keeping this alive through the QEP, through stipends and other kinds of incentives for faculty to remain engaged. So let me stop at this slide for a second and just see if there are any questions before I move forward. Because I know this is a lot of information, so I hope that it's making sense for someone who doesn't know, what the project is. Any questions at all?
I don't have a question. It's more of a comment. I do think we should go through the designing your life, because I was
exercise.
The exercise. Even though there are not a lot of us here, because again, we're recording this, so for anyone who's watching, that way that they'll get insight into it.
I see. Okay, well, let's do it then. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop, and I'll just take kind of one of the very initial exercises that I was just planning to do, the one that I actually talked about, and we'll actually do it, right? So imagine, and I know that we are all at very specific places in our careers, but it's as relevant to us as it is to our students, right? Because I actually have taken this workshop and I went through this exercise. And I'll tell you at the end of it when I share. So I won't tell you right now what happened to me, and I wasn't even expecting that, right? So, okay, or what I wrote. So we will just take 5 minutes. And those of you who would like to help, do this exercise with me, just think about this very question that I threw out, right? So this question about, imagine your life at whatever point you are, a student or a professional. Imagine your life without the constraints of money, of all the other constraints that we have, that we think of, the expectations of other people, whether for students, it's parents, for us, our family. Think of our life without those constraints of your life, and take 5 minutes and just jot down some sentences that you can share with us that tell us, what will I be? What would I be if I was imagining my life without these constraints? So We will take 5 minutes. It's 2:52, so we can take.
Before we take the 5 minutes, Rosangela has a question in the chat, and the question
okay.
is, designing your life is based on life design theory.
Yes, it's based on design thinking, the way that I've been learning about it, based on really the work by Bill. Why am I blanking on his name?
It's Stanford. It's the Stanford guys, right?
Yes, the Stanford guys, correct. Bill somebody, and gosh, if I can do a search. And actually their book.
It's Bill Burnett and Dave Evans.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and their book, Design Your Life, really just like blew open this whole space. So does that answer, Rosangela, your question?
Can you let us know in the chat? Yes.
And the Stanford folks, Bill and Dave Evans, that team has been particularly focused on the space of career and less on other aspects of how design thinking could help. But they have been focused on kind of a fulfilling life through a fulfilling and meaningful career. And so we kind of went with that because it was most relevant for our students. So, okay. So 5 minutes, jot down some sentences, and then at the end of the 5 minutes, we will share what, and even if you've thought about this question before, you don't necessarily go back along the old, just kind of get a piece of paper and just write down, if my life were without constraints, what would I be? Where would I be? That kind of thing. What would I be doing? And what do I really want to be? If we think we have had enough time, would anyone like to share what they wrote and whether it surprised them or not?
I will share, and that will give time for Rosangela to type her sharing in the chat. So actually, I have an old wish and a new one that has emerged because of the pandemic. So my old wish is I've always wanted to own a cafe with a musical performance, like a stage. Actually, after a restaurant in Atlanta called Vinkman's, in the Old Fourth Ward. They have fantastic food and fantastic music, and something that I've always wanted. As I'll be turning 51 next week, and ever since I was a teen, I don't know why, I would love to have a cafe. But so that's been like my lifelong dream. And then the one that has happened because of the pandemic is you may or may not know, Tinaz, when I was at Spelman, I did a Prince conference, and I've been doing these annual Prince conferences since 2017, but they were in person. And I was going to do one in March of 2020, but obviously the pandemic happened. And at first I was going to wait until we could do another in-person conference. And a friend of mine was like, why don't you do a virtual conference? And I was like, I don't know. But then I attended a virtual conference. It was called Remote Design Week, and it was like 5 days. And they had technical issues, but when they had technical issues, people came back. And I was like, oh, okay, this can work. So I actually pivoted my Prince event to a virtual one the past couple of years, and have done a gazillion of them, and have really fallen in love with the virtual conference space. So I've been thinking, because there was a virtual event conference this week, and I got really excited about it. And I was like, I wonder what my life would be like if I was a full-time virtual event, designer. Yeah. So that was just something I thought of actually this week from this conference.
That's fantastic. Like, both of them are fantastic, and I think one of the great benefits of taking like a course like this and engaging in these exercises is that in our regular day-to-day life, we never make space for this kind of thinking, We're to just keeping on going. And even though at the back of our minds, we may have like a dream or something like that, we don't ever try to visualize it. And I think these exercises are so great because out of that can easily come a spark that becomes something definite, you know. So those are great, D'Angela. Thank you.
May I share with you?
Please
Yes.
do.
First of all, sorry about my English, okay? I'm
It's
not
okay.
a native.
It's fine.
So first, I would open a career center for students who can't afford a career guidance process, okay? It's something that I'm planning when I retire, but it will be very difficult in this time, okay? Second, I would travel around the world without worrying about money or pandemic anymore. And the last, I would attend different events abroad.
Yes. Those are wonderful. I can see your ideas and D'Angela's idea coming together so fabulously. So you can create those spaces where people can attend the things that they're very, very interested in. And they can both be that you travel to it, but you can also beam in virtually. You can do virtual travel. So I love that. Thank you, Rosangela. And I'll simply share that when I did the workshop with Bill and Dave Evans, I always was, I love writing. And so I came up with, if I really didn't have the constraints, that I would have been just a full-time writer, right? Of fiction. I love to read fiction, and I have written some, but I've never been able to really, that's not like I still have a full-time job, but yeah, I would have been a writer and I would have been able to write freely. And maybe I still will. So anyway, I think it brings out like the things that are most, like the things that we think about the most. And I think it's nice for our students, even though they're really young, to start off knowing that their vision should always be important, not the money that they're going to get from the degree or the job, right? But rather that their career should be guided by the things that they believe make them happy. So there are a bunch of different exercises like that I think are really, really valuable. And D'Angela, what was that cafe? Because I don't think I've ever been to it, and I've lived in Atlanta so many years.
It's called Binkman's. It's I'll put it in the chat.
Okay.
And then I'll also they have a website and everything.
Okay, well, I'll definitely have to check that out.
Yeah.
Okay, so so let me just share like a little bit of data, and thanks. And I've acknowledged our lead evaluator, Dr. Dickens, whose team puts together like a lot of these evaluations, both kind of the internal evaluations of what students think about the classes that we're developing, as well as kind of some overarching evaluations. Now, some of these are not updated, unfortunately. So I have some from that stop at 2019, and these do need to be updated. So I will have to get busy on some of that kind of stuff. But if you look at it, then you look at the, and these are all faculty participants, right? In the number of workshops that we've had since 2017, which when we started really, the grant started really taking off, right? And we started to have these workshops. And some of them are on data science, as you can see. Some of them are on advising. Some of them are on the resume scoring for the first year class, like I had explained, the first year experience class. And then if you look at, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know why that happened. If you look at the Design Your Life workshops, we had a lot of those. We put a lot of effort into that particular piece of our project. We had actually Stanford workshop leaders coming for 2 years in a row. And a lot of our faculty took those workshops. So if you look across by division, you'll see that there were a lot of social sciences represented, but also you have the natural sciences and math, and then you have humanities as well. Okay, so here is just kind of a quick graph of the new courses that we developed. And again, I have to say that this is not a full chart, and we have a lot more now. And actually, it doesn't even reflect the new courses that faculty proposed that infused, as I said at the beginning of the lecture, that infused the career and the major knowledge. So we haven't, unfortunately, I don't have those, but I know that some of them were in the field of, most recently, I remember we just funded a course in the education department, and it infuses some idea of what they can do with their degree into kind of the core curriculum of their degree. So if you look at it, we've got courses across the different divisions. We've got some arts courses that are, so for instance, one of the arts courses, the art of teaching dance, that teaches the dance, but also teaches students about what is involved if you want to teach dance, right? So it infuses that slight aspect of, let me think about how I can use this, and to make these more these courses more kind of functional or implementational, right? And we've got the design your life, we've got the data science in economics, and the data science for social science is in the political science department, which are two courses that will remain on the books. So they have become regular part of what is being offered at Spelman, right? And then we talked about the art and science of digital marketing. We've got a design your life specific for political science that uses some of the design thinking, but also does some other leadership kinds of things. Let's look a little bit at another look at the workshops, and just looking at the numbers of faculty that took all of these different workshops. And again, this ends in 2019, but we've continued to have workshops. And in fact, one interesting thing is a lot of our focus for the data science in the early years from 2017, 18, 19 was on social sciences. But in 2020 and 2021, we had a great kind of focus on the humanities and data science called, and those workshops were called digital humanities. And we had quite a lot of faculty attending those and also benefiting from them. So let's take another look at the way this is breaking down again. Oh, this is the creation of modules. So if you only look at new courses created, of course, we have a lot of courses, but the real work, a lot of additional work went into the faculty that took the workshops in data science, in design thinking, and they infused it in the way of modules into existing classes. So for instance, you can see there's one in biology, a designing your life module. There is one in anthropology, a designing your life module that's been inserted, right? There's a module in world languages and literatures inserted in design your life. There is a data science module that has been inserted in one of the arts courses. And so that gives, I think, a slice of how these ideas from CPI, the things that we invested in, the buckets that we invested in, faculty took those from the workshops and infused them into their classes. And that's exactly what we said we would do in the grant, right? We were going to take that career knowledge and infuse it throughout the curriculum. So I think this is nice when I look at it this way. And actually all of this, when updated, will show lots more of these kinds of modules having been inserted. Okay, these are just some evaluations. Also, thanks to the evaluation team, that when CPI funded courses or CPI inspired courses, they would try to gauge how are the students reacting to these courses, right? Because they wanted to know, do the students, as a result of taking these courses that CPI has invested in, do the students believe that they have changed their knowledge about how they think about career life and the way in which they see their future, right? So we look at some of them, just a slice again of the many courses that we have. The Designing Your Life has so much has students just the highest scores that I can see in terms of students affirming this course increased my exposure to career options. I acquired skills in this course that I might be able to use in my career. This course offered a reflection on career and life, all of the key kinds of things that our grant wants to hit upon, right? And another course, so that was the Designing Your Life course. The dance community and social change also scored very highly on all of these different kinds of questions that we tried to evaluate on. That first course, the sophomore seminar, DDEP, that's dual degree engineering program. It's a major in Spelman where, Deanne, I'm sure you know about this, right? So it's a major where the students take 4 years at Spelman, 3 years at Spelman, and their last year at Tech, Georgia Tech, or a number of other universities are options. Or is it 4 years at Spelman and 1 year? Whatever it is, they come out. I
think it's 3 years and 1
3
year.
plus 1?
Yeah.
And so they come out with a degree in engineering that by ourselves Spelman does not offer, right? But in these dual degree programs, we do. So one of the faculty members in that department changed their sophomore seminar, their SYE, sophomore year experience, yes, right? And second year experience, sophomore year experience. And they redesigned that course with the help of CPI funding and the CPI knowledge awareness that we created through the design thinking, data science, all of that. And they tailored it more towards making it more career friendly. And so I think you're seeing some of the outcome of that as well. Okay.
So it's actually 3 years plus 2 years. I just looked it up.
I knew there was some additional step. So it's 3 plus 2. Thank you for that. Okay. Again, this is a focus on that SYE dual degree engineering program course, asking them questions, students the questions. Did you learn, how much did you learn about different kinds of things? Developing a resume, curriculum vitae, networking with professionals, completing a job interview, finding jobs and internships. And I think the results are really good. I mean, nobody says nothing. Well, that's not an option. But however, a little is a very small percentage. And if you take the three together, a great deal, a lot, and a moderate amount, you see that students have learned quite a lot. So that's good news. And I think this is just that same course, all in different, some are in spring, some are in fall, different classes. So these are different students. And again, telling us how much confidence do they have in the stuff that they learned in this course about careers, right? And the different questions were, how much confidence do you have now about deciding what you value most in your occupation? How much confidence do you have about choosing a major or career that will fit your interests? And many of them are saying that they have moderate, much, complete, right? Those are the primary ways in which their responses are falling, which is very nice. I like these questions too. Talk with a person already employed in a field you're interested in. Figure out what you are and are not ready to sacrifice to achieve your career goals. So I think it's just asking for student response and feedback on how the course may have made them think.
Tinaz, Rosangela would like for you to share the previous slide again, the one before this one, I think.
This one?
Yes, I think. Rosangela, will you let us know in the chat if that's the one you want?
The previous.
Go ahead.
The previous one, please. Yes. That's I teach a course, and we talk about everything you just showed.
That's great.
So, yes. So I'm very happy we are going into the same path.
Oh, that's wonderful. And which major is it in, Rosangela? Which department?
in psychology.
I see.
But the course is available. I don't know if the correct word is available, but all students from all departments can enroll it.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay?
And that's actually the model we also use for our Design Your Life course, which we created from CPI. Any student can enroll across the college.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. And okay, yeah, we don't need to go into that. And this is another slice from the digital marketing course. And again, it asks questions about, what kind of knowledge do they have of marketing, digital trends, marketing technology, et cetera. And so many of them say that they have pretty good knowledge, right? Somehow the researching digital trends seem to have some students who did not feel as confident, but the others have a lot of confidence in their knowledge about the different aspects of marketing. This is that course that was being taught with the external corporate leaders and the projects that students did that the corporations actually implemented. So, okay. And this is also on that particular course, I believe. Let me see. Oh, this is DYL again. And let me see. So I plan to apply this information used in this course to other courses. I think very strong agreement that they will. Plan to apply this information used in this course to my personal life. Again, very strong 2 sections of students. As a result of taking this course, I have increased knowledge about integrating personal values and my career. Strong agreement. And as a result of taking this course, I have increased knowledge about design thinking. So it really gives us a really nice sense of how the students were benefiting in these design thinking courses. Maybe a little bit, yeah. So this was one of the projects CPI did, which was to purchase some data from Equifax, and it tells us about our graduates from Spelman and where they're placed so many years out of Spelman, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, etc. But that will be the topic for a whole different discussion. I'll gloss over that. And if you all don't mind and will indulge me, let's take a quick look at this video that we created. And then after that, we can just do questions and wrap. We're almost at the end. But this is like a 2-minute video. So.
The Career Pathways Initiative is an institutional-wide initiative that focuses on integrating really careers within the courses and to expand what Spelman is already doing to ensure that when every student graduates that they have a job or graduate school placement lined up.
CPI gives our students the edge in so many ways in creating the kinds of skills that the world is hungry for right now. Skills like data science, skills like design thinking.
I took a data science class here on campus that was funded by UNCF CPI, and through that class I learned skills such as we used the program Python, and we learned about jobs that we could have as economics majors that I wouldn't have known otherwise.
CPI has funded 6 major career courses across different disciplines.
We've got courses in political science, we've got courses in education and psychology that were geared with this idea in mind, to integrate career knowledge into the major.
The Art and Science of Digital Influence, I feel like, is like a very valuable course because of what they provide us with that can stretch after Spelman.
I thought I was in this box of just law and attorney or government, and the Career Pathways Initiative has changed my whole view on what a political science major does, and the Career Pathways Initiative definitely pushes us to the next level.
Okay, so that's it. Sorry about the mix-up.
Oh, no worries. We got it.
Yeah, So that's it. Questions? I think we're at the end of my time. But anyway, thank you for allowing me to share all of this. Particularly, D'Angelo, it was so nice for you to have been there. Because
Yes. When I saw your name, I was like, that's the breakout room that I want to be in. So I assigned myself to you, Tinaz, so I could see actually, how the program has grown, because I actually took one of those Designing Your Life workshops. I thought it was really fantastic. And I actually didn't realize that I knew about the modules of integrating like a Design Your Life module, but I didn't realize that you were going to actually have Design Your Life courses, which I think is really fantastic. I see that the enrollment is really high in those.
The students love those courses, but one of our challenges now is, how do we, that's one of the things that the QEP is going to take up, but I think we need to do more work into making sure that they are going to be embedded into the future. Because students have absolutely loved that course. Yep. So
I don't know, Rosangela, if you have any additional questions, and Garrison joined us kind of midway through. So Garrison, I don't know if you have any questions for Tinaz. We do have like 3 minutes.
Okay, it's not a question, it's just a comment. I'm so thrilled to hear from you. Thank you so much. It gave me more. I don't know I'm sorry, but I'm teaching a course in English here at the university, and it has been a challenge, a very tough challenge, and using a approach, EMI, English as a medium of instruction. And I'm very happy to see that we are in a good path to help students. And thank you so much for your presentation. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for your input. It was great to hear what you're doing also. Okay. So thank you all again, and yep, maybe next year. Maybe
Yes,
in person next year, and I will present an updated version.
that would be fantastic. I do hope we get to meet in New Orleans, because that's the plan. We're going to try again. This will be the third time that we have tried to hold it in New Orleans. But I think third time is going to be the one. So
yes,
we will see.
Definitely. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Everyone.